I was standing in the parking lot of my daughter's school when I saw it. A brand new car. Shiny. Red. The kind that screams money. And behind the wheel, his new girlfriend. The one he left us for. My hands were shaking. Not from the cold. From rage. Because 3 days earlier, he'd sent me a text. Short. Cold. Can't pay this month. I'm broke. Broke. I stared at that word for hours. Broke. While my daughter asked why we couldn't buy new shoes. While I counted coins to pay for her lunch. While I worked double shifts just to keep the lights on. But he wasn't broke. He was just done pretending I mattered. She stepped out of that car wearing a jacket I recognized. The one I used to dream about buying. The one I'd saved a screenshot of on my phone for months. Back when I thought we were building a future together. Back when I believed his promises. I wanted to scream. To march over there and demand answers. To ask him how he could look at our daughter and lie. But I didn't move. Because she was standing next to me. My 6-year-old. Holding my hand. Watching her father kiss another woman in a car he couldn't afford while claiming he couldn't afford her. That's the moment I broke. Not when he left. Not when he stopped calling. But when I realized he'd chosen comfort over his own child. When I understood that his love had terms and conditions. When I saw that we'd been replaced by something shinier. My daughter tugged my sleeve. "Mommy, why are you crying?" I wasn't crying. I was waking up. Because standing in that parking lot, watching him drive away in a car worth 6 months of child support, I made myself a promise. A silent, savage promise that nobody heard but me. I would never beg him again. I would never wait for his money, his time, or his apology. I would build something so strong, so unshakable, that his absence would become irrelevant. But first, I had to survive the fall. And I had no idea how deep it would go. It wasn't always like this. There was a time when I believed in him. When I looked at him and saw forever. When his promises felt like gospel truth. We met at a coffee shop on a rainy Tuesday. I was 23. He was 26. He had this smile that made you forget your own name. He paid for my latte without asking. Held the door. Asked about my dreams like they mattered. 6 months later, I was pregnant. Unplanned. Terrifying. But he got down on one knee in our tiny apartment and said, "We're doing this together. You and me. Always." I believed him. I remember the night our daughter was born. He cried. Actually cried. Held her like she was made of glass and whispered promises into her tiny ears. "I'll never let you down. I'll work 3 jobs if I have to. You'll never want for anything." I took a photo of that moment. Him holding her. The hospital bracelet still on his wrist. His eyes red and swollen. I looked at that photo every day for years. We were broke back then. Really broke. But we were happy. Or at least I thought we were. He worked construction. I waited tables between feedings. We lived off ramen and hope. Our apartment was small and cold and the landlord never fixed the heater, but we had each other. We had her. That was supposed to be enough. But somewhere between the diapers and the bills, he started staying out late. Coming home smelling like beer and someone else's perfume. I'd ask where he'd been. He'd snap. Tell me I was paranoid. Controlling. That I'd changed since the baby. I believed that too. I thought maybe I had changed. Maybe I wasn't fun anymore. Maybe I was too tired, too demanding, too much. So I tried harder. Cooked his favorite meals. Lost the baby weight. Smiled more. Complained less. Swallowed every suspicion like poison and told myself I was imagining things. I wasn't. The first time I saw her name on his phone, my stomach dropped. 3 in the morning. He was asleep next to me, snoring, while his phone lit up with her messages. "Miss you. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. She doesn't have to know." I sat there in the dark, holding that phone, feeling my entire world collapse in silence. I didn't wake him. Didn't scream. I just put the phone back and stared at the ceiling until sunrise. Because part of me still wanted to believe. Part of me thought if I ignored it, it would go away. That he'd come back to us. That love would be enough to fix what was breaking. It wasn't. He left on a Thursday. No warning. Just packed a bag while I was at the grocery store and sent a text. I can't do this anymore. I need space. Space. Like our daughter was a claustrophobic room he needed to escape. I called him 17 times that night. He answered once. Told me he'd send money. That he'd still be a father. That this wasn't about her. It was about us. About me. About how I'd suffocated him with expectations and responsibilities. I apologized. Can you believe that? I apologized to the man who abandoned his child. Begged him to come back. Promised I'd be better. Less needy. More understanding. He hung up. And that's when the real nightmare began. Because leaving was just the beginning. What came next was worse. The silence. The broken promises. The month-to-month survival while he posted photos at bars, at beaches, at concerts. Living his best life while I rationed meals. But I didn't see the car coming yet. The new girlfriend. The lies about being broke. I was still in the freefall, thinking the ground would catch me. I had no idea I was about to hit concrete. Before everything fell apart, we had Sunday mornings. That was our thing. Our tradition. The one piece of the week that felt sacred. I'd wake up early, make pancakes from scratch, and she'd stumble into the kitchen in her pajamas, hair wild, eyes still half closed. We'd eat together at our tiny kitchen table, the one with the wobbly leg that I kept meaning to fix. She'd tell me about her dreams. Elaborate stories about flying elephants and talking clouds. I'd listen like it was the most important news in the world. Because it was. To me, it was everything. After breakfast, we'd walk to the park. The small one 3 blocks away with the rusty swings and the slide that squeaked. She'd run ahead, and I'd follow, carrying her juice box and the stuffed rabbit she refused to leave home without. Other kids had fancy toys and expensive gadgets. She had a rabbit missing an eye and a mother who showed up. That was enough. Back then, that was enough. I had a job I actually liked. Nothing glamorous. I worked at a daycare center. The pay was barely above minimum wage, but I got to bring her with me. She'd play with the other kids while I worked, and during lunch breaks, we'd sit in the reading corner and I'd make up stories. She'd laugh at my silly voices and beg for one more chapter. We lived in a small apartment. 1 bedroom. Thin walls. The neighbors upstairs fought constantly, and the plumbing made strange noises at night. But it was ours. I'd painted her corner of the bedroom purple, her favorite color. Hung up her drawings with tape. Built her a fort out of blankets and chairs that stayed up for weeks because I didn't have the heart to take it down. She felt safe there. That's what mattered. I remember her 4th birthday. I couldn't afford a big party or expensive presents. So I made her a cake shaped like a butterfly. It was lopsided and the frosting was uneven, but when she saw it, her entire face lit up. She hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe and whispered, "You're the best mommy in the world." I believed her. We had routines. Simple, predictable rhythms that made life feel manageable. Bath time at 7. Bedtime stories at 8. Prayers before sleep where she'd thank God for her toys and her friends and me. Always me. Thank you for my mommy who loves me. I'd kiss her forehead and watch her fall asleep, thinking, I'm doing okay. We're doing okay. I had dreams back then too. Small ones. Realistic ones. I wanted to save enough money to take her to the beach. To buy her a bike for Christmas. To maybe one day go back to school and become a teacher. I downloaded college brochures and kept them in a folder under my bed. Late at night, when she was asleep, I'd flip through them and imagine a different future. A better one. I had friends. Not many, but real ones. Other moms from the daycare who understood the exhaustion and the joy in equal measure. We'd meet for coffee on Saturday mornings while the kids played. We'd complain about sleepless nights and picky eaters and laugh until our stomachs hurt. I had a community. A place I belonged. I didn't have much money, but I had stability. A routine. A plan. I knew what each day would look like. I knew my daughter would wake up in the same bed, eat breakfast at the same table, go to the same daycare, and come home to a mother who was present. Tired, but present. That was my life. Simple. Hard. Beautiful. And then it all started to crack. First, he stopped sending money. Then he stopped answering calls. Then I got the notice. The daycare was closing. Budget cuts. I had 2 weeks to find a new job and a new place for my daughter. 2 weeks to figure out how to survive without the one thing that had been holding us together. I tried not to panic. Told myself I'd figure it out. That I always did. That we'd be fine. But deep down I knew. I could feel it. The ground beneath me was shifting. And I had no idea how far I was about to fall. Everything I'd built, every small piece of security I'd scraped together, was about to be ripped away. And the man who promised to protect us, he was already gone. 3 months. That's how long it took for everything to fall apart. 3 months without child support. 3 months of choosing between rent and food. 3 months of watching the pile of bills grow taller while my bank account shrank to nothing. I applied for 27 jobs. 27. I got 3 interviews. 2 rejections. 1 ghost. The eviction notice came on a Tuesday, taped to my door like a scarlet letter for the whole building to see. Bright orange paper. Bold black letters. You have 30 days to vacate. My hands shook so hard I could barely read it. I called him. Again. Voicemail. Again. I left a message. Tried to keep my voice steady. Your daughter needs you. I need you. Please. Just call me back. He didn't. But he posted a photo that night. Him and her. At some fancy restaurant. Wine glasses. Candlelight. Her hand on his chest. His smile wide and careless. The caption, "Living my best life." I stared at that photo for an hour, while my daughter slept in a bedroom we were about to lose, while I counted the $17 left in my account, while I tried to figure out how to tell a 6-year-old that we had to leave the only home she'd ever known. Living his best life. I reported him. Filed the paperwork. Showed up to court with folders full of evidence. Screenshots of his lies. Proof of his income. Photos of the new car. The judge listened. Nodded. Ordered him to pay. He didn't show up. The order meant nothing. A piece of paper can't force a man to care about his child. Can't make him look at her photo and feel shame. Can't reach into his wallet when he's spending it on someone else. I pawned my grandmother's ring. The one I swore I'd never sell. The one I was saving for my daughter. Got $300 for something priceless. It lasted 2 weeks. I started working nights. Cleaning offices after everyone went home. My friend watched my daughter, but I could see the strain in her eyes. The unspoken limit of her generosity. Nobody wants to be responsible for someone else's child indefinitely. I was exhausted. Beyond exhausted. Bone deep, soul-crushing tired. I'd work until 3 in the morning, come home, sleep for 2 hours, then wake up to get my daughter ready for school. She'd ask why my eyes were red. I'd lie. Say it was allergies. She knew. Kids always know. We moved. Had to. A shelter first. Then a room in someone's basement. Damp. Dark. Mold growing in the corners. 1 bed. No kitchen. A shared bathroom down the hall. I hung a sheet across the middle to give us some privacy. It didn't help. My daughter cried herself to sleep for a week. Asked when we were going home. I didn't have an answer. just held her and whispered lies. Soon, baby. Soon. The worst part wasn't the poverty. It was the shame. The looks from other mothers at school. The whispers. The judgment. Where's her father? Why doesn't she have proper shoes? Heard they're living in a basement. I stopped going to parent meetings. Stopped making eye contact. Walked with my head down and my shoulders hunched like I was carrying the weight of every failure on my back. And maybe I was. I saw him once during this time. At a gas station. He was filling up that car. The red one. The one that cost more than 6 months of rent. I pulled up next to him, my old car sputtering and coughing. Our eyes met. He looked away. Didn't ask how we were. Didn't ask about his daughter. Just got in his car and drove away like I was a stranger. Like we'd never shared a bed, a life, a child. That was the moment I broke. Not when he left. Not when he stopped paying. But when he looked at me and saw nothing. When he erased me so completely that I became invisible. I sat in that parking lot and screamed. Actually screamed. Until my throat was raw and people started staring. I didn't care. I wanted the pain out. Wanted someone to hear it. To witness what he'd done. Nobody came. I drove home to our basement room. My daughter was waiting. She'd drawn me a picture. A house. A sun. 2 stick figures holding hands. This is us when we're happy again, she said. I taped it to the wall. Right next to the eviction notice I'd kept as a reminder. This is what rock bottom looks like. This is what abandonment feels like. This is the cost of loving someone who doesn't love you back. But something else was happening too. Something I couldn't name yet. A hardness. A refusal. A tiny spark of rage that wouldn't go out no matter how many times I tried to drown it in tears. I wasn't dead yet. And that meant something. That had to mean something. I thought hitting rock bottom meant the only way was up. I was wrong. Rock bottom has basements. The rejections came in waves. Fast food restaurants. Retail stores. Cleaning services. Even the jobs I was overqualified for didn't want me. Too much gap in my resume. No reliable transportation. Couldn't guarantee flexible hours because of childcare. I started lying. Said I had a support system. Said my schedule was wide open. Said whatever they wanted to hear. Got 3 callbacks. 2 led nowhere. 1 offered me a position that paid $7 an hour under the table. No benefits. No security. No dignity. I took it. Worked in a warehouse sorting packages. Night shift. 10-hour days. The supervisor was a man who looked at me like I was disposable. Because I was. When I asked about overtime pay, he laughed. When I missed a shift because my daughter had a fever, he docked my pay for 3 days. I lasted 2 weeks before they let me go. Said I wasn't committed enough. I tried selling things online. My old textbooks. Furniture. Clothes I hadn't worn in years. Made $83 over 2 months. Spent $40 on shipping. The math didn't math. But I kept trying because what else was there to do? I applied for assistance. Food stamps. Medicaid. Housing vouchers. Sat in government offices for 6 hours filling out forms that asked me to prove my poverty in triplicate. Brought pay stubs and eviction notices and bank statements showing 17 cents. The woman behind the desk looked at me with dead eyes and said, "You'll hear back in 6 to 8 weeks." We didn't have 6 to 8 weeks. My daughter started acting out at school. Fighting with other kids. Refusing to do her homework. Her teacher called me in for a meeting. Asked if everything was okay at home. I wanted to scream. Wanted to tell her that no, everything was not okay. That we were living in a basement with mold. That I was working myself into the ground for nothing. That her father had abandoned us and the system designed to help was drowning me in paperwork. Instead, I smiled. Said we were going through a transition. That I'd talk to her. I did. That night, sitting on our shared bed, I asked her why she was angry. She looked at me with eyes too old for her face and said, "Because you're sad all the time and I don't know how to make it better." 6 years old. And already carrying my pain. I broke down. Right there. In front of her. Couldn't hold it in anymore. She held me while I sobbed. My child. Comforting me. The roles reversed in the cruelest way. But something shifted that night. In that moment of complete surrender, something inside me hardened. Not in a bitter way. In a survival way. I realized I'd been begging the wrong people for help. Begging him to care. Begging the system to see me. Begging employers to give me a chance. All that begging had gotten me nowhere. It had made me smaller. Weaker. I stopped begging. I started at the bottom again. But this time I was strategic. I walked into a diner at 5 in the morning and asked to speak to the manager. Told her I needed a job. Any job. Didn't care what it paid. Just needed something stable. She looked at me for a long moment, then asked, "Can you start tomorrow?" I said yes before she finished the sentence. It was waitressing. Minimum wage plus tips. Early morning shifts so I could be home when my daughter got out of school. The work was brutal. My feet ached. My back screamed. I smelled like grease and coffee every night. But it was something. A foothold. The first week, I made $147 in tips. I cried when I counted it. Real money. Earned money. Mine. I bought my daughter new shoes. Nothing fancy. Just sneakers from the discount store that fit and didn't have holes. She put them on and ran circles around our basement room. And for the first time in months, I saw her smile. A real smile. The kind that reaches the eyes. That smile was worth more than every dollar I'd ever made. But the victories were small. And the defeats kept coming. The car broke down. $200, I didn't have to fix it. Had to borrow money from my coworker. Paid her back $5 a week for 3 months. The rent went up. The landlord wanted another $50 a month or we were out. I negotiated. Offered to clean the common areas. He agreed. So I worked my shift at the diner, came home, got my daughter settled, then scrubbed hallways and bathrooms until midnight. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. But I was moving. Not forward yet. Just sideways. Treading water. But not drowning. Not anymore. And every night before I collapsed into bed, I looked at that picture my daughter had drawn. The house. The sun. The 2 stick figures. This is us when we're happy again. Not if. When. She believed it. And if she could believe it, maybe I could too. 6 months in. 6 months of barely surviving. And I was done. Not tired. Not frustrated. Done. The kind of done where you stop fighting because there's nothing left to fight with. Where you look at your life and see no exit. No light. No point. I stood in the bathroom of that basement apartment at 2 in the morning, staring at myself in the cracked mirror. I didn't recognize the woman looking back. Hollow eyes. Gray skin. Hair falling out in clumps from stress. I looked like a ghost. Maybe I was one. My daughter had asked me that morning why we couldn't have a birthday party. She was turning 7 in 2 weeks. I'd forgotten. Actually forgotten my own child's birthday because I was so consumed with survival that joy had become a foreign concept. I told her we'd do something small. Just us. She nodded. Didn't complain. Didn't cry. Just accepted it with the quiet resignation of a child who'd learned not to expect too much. That killed me more than anything. Her acceptance. Her understanding. 7 years old and already learning that life disappoints you. I'd failed her. Not because I didn't try, but because trying wasn't enough. Love wasn't enough. Working 3 jobs wasn't enough. Nothing I did would ever be enough to make up for the father who'd abandoned her and the poverty that defined us. The bills were piled on the table. Red letters. Final notices. Threats of disconnection. I'd stopped opening them because what was the point? I couldn't pay them. I'd already borrowed from everyone I knew. Already sold everything worth selling. Already sacrificed every piece of dignity I had left. I thought about my daughter's father that night. Wondered if he ever thought about us. If he ever lay awake wondering if we were okay. If he ever felt the crushing weight of what he'd done. Probably not. He was too busy living. While we were busy drowning. I sat down on the bathroom floor and let myself think the unthinkable. Maybe she'd be better off without me. Maybe if I disappeared, the system would step in. Put her with a family who could actually provide. Give her the life she deserved. The one I couldn't give her. Maybe I was the problem. Maybe my love was selfish. Maybe holding on was cruel. I cried, but no sound came out. Just dry, hollow sobs that shook my body but produced nothing. I'd run out of tears months ago. Now there was just emptiness. I heard her voice through the door. "Mommy, are you okay?" I froze. She'd woken up. Heard me. Came looking. "I'm fine, baby. Go back to bed. Can I come in?" I didn't want her to see me like this. Broken. Defeated. But I also didn't have the strength to lie anymore. "Okay." She opened the door. Saw me on the floor. Didn't ask questions. Just climbed into my lap and wrapped her small arms around my neck. We sat there in silence. Her holding me. Me holding her. Two people clinging to each other in the dark. "I had a bad dream," she whispered. "But then I woke up and remembered you're here. And that made it better." Those words. Those simple, devastating words. She didn't need a perfect life. She didn't need a father who showed up or a house with a yard or fancy birthday parties. She needed me. Just me. Present. Alive. Fighting. And I was about to take that away from her because I'd convinced myself I wasn't enough. But I was. Not because I was extraordinary, but because I was hers. And she was mine. And that bond, that love, was the only thing that actually mattered. I held her tighter. "I love you," I whispered. "More than anything in this world." "I know, Mommy. I love you too." We sat there until she fell asleep in my arms. Then I carried her back to bed, tucked her in, watched her breathe. Her face peaceful, trusting, believing I'd be there when she woke up. I walked back to that mirror, looked at the ghost again. But this time I saw something different. Not failure, not weakness. Survival. Raw, brutal, beautiful survival. I'd been waiting for someone to save me. Waiting for him to care. For the system to help. For the universe to throw me a lifeline. But nobody was coming. Nobody was going to save me. I had to save myself. Not tomorrow. Not when things got better. Right now. In this moment. With nothing but will and love and a refusal to let my daughter grow up thinking her mother quit. Something inside me still pulsed. Faint. Almost gone. But there. A heartbeat. A spark. A stubborn, savage refusal to die. I wasn't done yet. The next morning, I woke up before dawn. Not because I had to. Because something had shifted. I sat at our small table, the one with the chipped edge and uneven legs, and I did something I hadn't done in months. I made a list. Not a list of bills I couldn't pay or problems I couldn't solve. A list of things I could control. 1. I could show up. 2. I could work harder than anyone else. 3. I could learn. 4. I could protect my daughter's joy, even when I had none of my own. 5. I could refuse to let him win. That last one. That's what mattered most. Every day I stayed broken was a day he got to walk away guilt-free. Every time I failed was proof that he'd been right to leave. That we weren't worth the effort. I refused to give him that satisfaction. I pulled out the notebook I'd been keeping. The one where I'd written down every missed payment, every broken promise, every lie. 3 years of documentation. Dates. Screenshots. Witnesses. I'd been collecting evidence like breadcrumbs, thinking maybe one day it would matter. Maybe one day someone would care. But I realized that morning that the person who needed to care was me. Not for revenge. For closure. For proof that I'd done everything possible. That when my daughter grew up and asked why her father wasn't there, I could show her this notebook and say, I fought for you. I never stopped fighting. I wrote one more entry. The last one. Dated it. And then I wrote, today I stop waiting for him to save us. Today I stop expecting the system to care. Today I stop believing I need anyone's permission to succeed. Today I choose us. Just us. And that will be enough. I closed the notebook. Put it in a box under my bed. I didn't need to look at it anymore. The past was documented. Preserved. But I wasn't going to live there anymore. I looked at my daughter, still asleep. Her face peaceful. Her hand clutching that worn stuffed rabbit. She trusted me. Believed in me. Loved me without condition or reservation. I didn't deserve it. But I had it. And I wasn't going to waste it. I went to the mirror. The same cracked mirror where I'd seen a ghost the night before. But this time I looked different. Still tired. Still worn. But alive. Present. Determined. I made myself a promise. Out loud. So I couldn't take it back. I will give her a life she's proud to live. I will show her that women don't need men to save them. That we save ourselves. That strength isn't about never falling. It's about getting up one more time than you fall. I said it again. Louder. Until I believed it. Then I did something symbolic. Something that marked the moment as real. I took the one photo I still had of him. The one from the hospital when our daughter was born. The one where he cried and made promises. I looked at it for a long time. Felt the anger. The grief. The betrayal. And then I tore it in half. Not violently. Calmly. Deliberately. I tore it into pieces until his face was unrecognizable. Until he was just fragments. Just paper. Just past. I threw the pieces in the trash. Didn't ceremonially burn them or make a big production. Just threw them away like the garbage they were. Because he didn't deserve ritual. He didn't deserve significance. He was just a man who'd failed. And his failure didn't define me anymore. My daughter woke up. Walked into the kitchen rubbing her eyes. What are you doing up so early, Mommy? Planning, I said. Planning our future. What's it look like? I knelt down. Looked her in the eyes. Better. It looks better. She smiled. Hugged me. I think so too. That day I went to the library. Signed up for free computer classes. Applied to 10 more jobs. Not desperate applications. Strategic ones. Places where I wanted to work. Where my skills mattered. I updated my resume. Practiced interview answers in front of the bathroom mirror. Dressed in my best outfit, even though I was just going to drop off applications. I walked differently that day. Head up. Shoulders back. Not because I'd won anything, but because I'd decided to stop losing. At the diner, my manager noticed. You seem different today, she said. I am, I replied. Good different. Necessary different. She nodded. Handed me an extra shift. You want Saturday mornings? Previous girl quit. It's yours if you want it. More hours. More money. More exhaustion. But also more hope. I'll take it. That night, I tucked my daughter into bed. She asked for 3 stories instead of 1. I read them all. Made the voices silly. made her laugh until she hiccuped. When she finally fell asleep, I sat there watching her, memorizing her face, her trust, her resilience. She didn't know it, but she'd saved my life. Not by needing me, by believing I was worth needing. I pulled out a new notebook. Fresh pages. Empty. Waiting. And I wrote on the first page. Day 1. Again. Because that's what survival is. Starting over. Every single day. Until the starting over becomes moving forward. 3 weeks. That's how long it took for the first real win. I got a call. An office manager position. Part-time, but with benefits. Health insurance. Paid sick days. A desk with my name on it. They wanted me to start Monday. I said yes. Hung up. And cried. Not sad tears. Relief tears. The kind that come when you realize you might actually survive. The job wasn't glamorous. I answered phones. Filed paperwork. Made coffee for people who treated me like furniture. But it was stable. Predictable. And for the first time in a year, I could breathe without calculating if I'd eaten enough that day. First paycheck. $912. I stared at the number. Direct deposit. Real money. Earned fairly. No begging. No borrowing. Just work exchanged for payment like a normal human being. I took my daughter out for ice cream. 2 scoops. Any flavor she wanted. She chose chocolate chip and strawberry. We sat on a bench outside the shop, and she swung her legs and talked about nothing important. Her teacher. A boy in her class who ate glue. A bird she'd seen that morning. Normal things. Beautiful, boring, normal things. I enrolled in night classes. Business administration. Online. Free through a community program. 2 nights a week after my daughter went to sleep, I sat at our tiny table and learned about accounting, management, marketing. My eyes burned. My brain hurt. But I kept going. Because knowledge was power. And I was done being powerless. 2nd month. Promotion. Assistant manager. $4 raise. Not much. But enough. Enough to move us out of the basement. Into a real apartment. 1 bedroom. But above ground. With windows that let in light. With a kitchen that had a working stove. With a door that locked and walls that didn't smell like mold. My daughter ran through the empty apartment the day we moved in. Her footsteps echoed. She laughed. Actually laughed. Mommy, it's so big. It was 400 square feet. But to her, it was a mansion. I bought her a bed. A real bed. Not used. Not borrowed. Brand new from the store with a mattress that didn't sag. Pink sheets because that was her favorite color that month. A comforter with butterflies. She made her bed herself. Smoothed the sheets. Fluffed the pillow. Then laid down and said, "This is the best day ever." 3rd month. I paid off my first debt. The smallest one. $93. But I paid it in full. Watched the balance go to 0. Got the confirmation email. Printed it out. Hung it on the refrigerator like it was a trophy. Because it was. My manager noticed my work. Started giving me more responsibility. Trusted me with vendor orders. Client communications. Budget reports. I didn't just do the work. I excelled at it. Stayed late. Caught errors. Improved systems. Made myself indispensable. Not out of ambition. Out of gratitude. This job had saved me. The least I could do was deserve it. 4th month. Tax refund. $800. I opened a savings account. The first one I'd had in 3 years. Deposited every penny. Watched the teller hand me a receipt with my name and a balance. Proof that I existed. That I was building something. My daughter's grades improved. Her teacher called. Said she seemed happier. more focused. I wanted to tell her it was because we weren't living in a basement anymore. Because her mother could afford to buy her lunch instead of sending her with crackers and hope. Because stability changes everything. But I just said thank you. And hung up. And let myself feel proud. 5th month. I finished my first semester. 3 classes. 3 A's. The college sent a certificate of achievement. I framed it. Hung it next to my daughter's drawings. Because they were both evidence that we were more than our worst moments. That we could create beauty from chaos. 6th month. I got my first full-time offer. Different company. Better pay. Benefits. A title. Administrative coordinator. It sounded official. Professional. Real. I accepted. Gave 2 weeks' notice. My old manager hugged me. Said she knew I wouldn't stay long. That I was meant for bigger things. I thanked her. Meant it. She'd given me a chance when no one else would. I'd never forget that. The new job was intimidating. Bigger office. More responsibility. People with degrees and experience and confidence. But I showed up early. Learned fast. Asked questions. Took notes. Proved that hunger and humility could compete with pedigree. I bought my daughter new clothes. Not from the thrift store. From the mall. She tried everything on. Spun in the mirror. Hugged me tight. We're doing better, aren't we, Mommy? We are, baby. We really are. Each month stacked on the last. Small wins. Micro victories. A paid bill. A full tank of gas. A grocery trip where I didn't calculate every item. A birthday party where my daughter could invite friends and I could afford the cake. Normal became extraordinary. Because I remembered when we had nothing. When survival was the only goal. When hope felt like a luxury we couldn't afford. Now we had all 3. Survival. Goals. Hope. And I wasn't done yet. Not even close. 2 years had passed since that night on the bathroom floor. 2 years of rebuilding. Of climbing. Of proving to myself and my daughter that we didn't need him. She was 9 now. Smart. Observant. Old enough to remember the chaos but young enough to still believe in fresh starts. Old enough to ask questions I didn't want to answer. Why doesn't Dad call? We were having breakfast. Saturday morning. Pancakes. Our tradition had survived the poverty. She asked it casually, like she was asking about the weather. But I heard the weight behind it. I put down my fork. Because he made choices, baby. Choices that hurt us. And sometimes people don't know how to fix what they've broken. Do you think he misses me? The question stabbed me. Because the honest answer was, I don't know. And maybe no. And that truth would devastate her. I think he thinks about you, I said carefully. But thinking isn't the same as showing up. And you deserve someone who shows up. She nodded. Went back to her pancakes. But I could see it. The wound. The absence. The hole shaped like a father that I couldn't fill no matter how hard I tried. That afternoon, we went to the store. Grocery shopping. Normal errand. I was comparing cereal prices when I saw him. Standing in the next aisle. Older. Grayer. But unmistakably him. With her. The girlfriend. Except now she had a ring on her finger. And a baby on her hip. My blood turned to ice. My vision tunneled. Every muscle in my body screamed to run. To hide. To protect my daughter from seeing him. From having to process that he'd built a new family while abandoning the first one. But it was too late. She'd seen him too. Daddy. Her voice. Small. Hopeful. Destroyed me. He turned. His face went pale. Shock. Guilt. Fear. All of it flashing across his features in real time. The girlfriend looked confused. The baby gurgled. Oblivious. Hey, sweetheart, he said. His voice uncertain. like he was greeting a stranger. My daughter looked at me, then at him, then at the baby. I watched her piece it together. The new family, the replacement, the evidence that he could be a father, just not to her. "You have a baby?" she asked. "Yeah," he said, cleared his throat. "This is Emma. She's 6 months old." Oh, that one syllable. So much pain packed into 2 letters. The girlfriend shifted uncomfortably. "We should probably." "Yeah," he said quickly, grateful for the exit. He looked at me. "You look good. Both of you." I wanted to scream, to unleash every word I'd swallowed for 2 years, to ask him how he could stand there holding a child while ignoring the one standing 5 feet away, to demand the child support he still hadn't paid, to make him feel a fraction of the pain he'd caused. But my daughter was watching, and whatever I did next would shape how she processed this moment for the rest of her life. "We're doing well," I said, my voice steady, cold. "Better than well, actually. We don't need anything from you." His jaw tightened, nodded. "Good. That's good." He left, just walked away, again, with his new family, his shiny, clean, unchained life. And we stood there, in the cereal aisle, holding the pieces of a daughter who just watched her father choose someone else. She didn't cry. Not in the store. She helped me finish shopping, loaded the car, buckled her seatbelt. But when we got home, she went to her room, closed the door, and I heard it. The muffled sobs. The kind that come from somewhere deep, somewhere primal. I sat outside her door, my back against the wood, my own tears silent, because I couldn't fix this. Couldn't make him love her. Couldn't erase the rejection. All I could do was be there, present, consistent, the one who stayed. She came out an hour later, eyes red, face puffy, climbed into my lap even though she was getting too big for it. "I hate him," she whispered. "I know. Why does he love that baby but not me?" "It's not about love, sweetheart. It's about him. His brokenness. His inability to show up. You did nothing wrong. Do you hear me? Nothing. This is all him." She nodded against my chest, but I knew she didn't believe me. Not fully. Because rejection from a parent is a special kind of poison. It makes you question your worth, your value, your right to exist. That night, after she fell asleep, I pulled out the old notebook. The one I'd boxed up. The documentation. The evidence. And I looked at it with fresh eyes. Not for revenge, but for justice. Because he owed us. Not just money, but accountability. Acknowledgement. An admission that he'd failed. I opened my laptop. Searched for lawyers. Found one who specialized in child support enforcement. Sent an email. Outlined the situation. Attached evidence. Hit send before I could second-guess myself. I wasn't doing this for me. I was doing it for her. So she'd know that her mother fought. That she was worth fighting for. That abandonment has consequences. The next morning, I made pancakes again. Tried to restore normalcy. My daughter ate quietly. The joy from yesterday morning was gone. Replaced by something harder. Older. "I don't want to see him again," she said. "You don't have to." "Promise." "I promise. He doesn't get to show up when it's convenient. He lost that right a long time ago." She seemed satisfied with that. Finished breakfast. Went to get ready for school. I cleaned up. Put dishes in the sink. Tried to process how one chance encounter could undo 2 years of healing. And then the phone rang. The lawyer. His name was Marcus. Mid-40s. Kind eyes. He'd read my email. Reviewed my documentation. And he wanted to take the case. Pro bono. You have 2 years of unpaid child support, he said over the phone. With interest, penalties, and enforcement fees, we're looking at over $30,000. He legally owes you this. And I'm going to make sure you get every penny. $30,000. The number echoed in my head. That was rent, food, shoes, school supplies, doctor visits. Everything we'd scraped and clawed for while he'd bought cars and taken vacations and built a new life. How long will it take? I asked. Depends on how cooperative he is. But the state has tools. Wage garnishment, tax refund intercepts, suspension of driver's license, passport denial. And if he really fights us, we can pursue criminal charges for willful non-payment. Criminal charges. Part of me wanted that. Wanted him to feel consequences. To sit in a courtroom and answer for what he'd done. But another part just wanted the money. Wanted to be done with him forever. Let's start with the money, I said. If he pays, I'll let it go. But if he fights, then we fight harder, Marcus finished. I'll file the paperwork today. He did. Within a week, my ex was served. Official court documents. A summons. A reckoning he'd been running from for 2 years. His lawyer called mine. Tried to negotiate. Claimed hardship. Said $30,000 was unreasonable. That he had a new family to support. A mortgage. Expenses. Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. Your client had expenses when he abandoned his first family. That didn't stop him from buying a $20,000 car. Tell him we'll see him in court. The court date came. I dressed in my best outfit. Professional. Composed. I brought my documentation. Printed and organized. Every missed payment highlighted. Every excuse catalogued. Every lie exposed. He showed up 5 minutes late. Wrinkled shirt. Tired eyes. His expensive lawyer beside him looking annoyed. The judge was a woman. Late 50s. No nonsense expression. She'd clearly seen 1,000 cases like this. Deadbeat dads claiming poverty while living beyond their means. Mothers begging for crumbs. Children caught in the middle. She reviewed the evidence. Looked at the photos of the car. The vacation posts. The proof of income. Then looked at him. Mr. Torres, you make $73,000 a year. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. And you purchased a vehicle for $22,000 2 months after ceasing child support payments to your daughter? I needed transportation. Yes or no? Yes. And you've taken 3 vacations in the past 18 months? His lawyer tried to object. The judge silenced him with a look. Your Honor, my client has a new family. His old family didn't disappear because he started a new one, she interrupted. Responsibility doesn't expire because it's inconvenient. She ruled in under 5 minutes. Full back payment. $32,000 with interest. Immediate wage garnishment of 40% of his paycheck until the arrears were paid in full. Plus ongoing monthly child support of $800. He went pale. Started to protest. His lawyer put a hand on his arm. Whispered something. He shut up. The judge turned to me. Ms. Rivera, I'm sorry you had to fight for this. Your daughter deserved better. But you'll get every penny he owes. The state will enforce it. I nodded. Couldn't speak. Because I'd won. Actually won. Not just money. But acknowledgement. Validation. Proof that I hadn't been crazy or bitter or unreasonable. That he'd been wrong. And now there were consequences. We left the courthouse through different exits. But I saw him in the parking lot. Sitting in that red car. Head in his hands. His lawyer gone. His girlfriend nowhere in sight. Just him. Alone. Facing what he'd done. I didn't feel triumph. Or satisfaction. Just exhaustion. and relief. Because it was over. The fighting. The begging. The proving. It was done. The first payment hit my account 2 weeks later. $1,300. Garnished directly from his paycheck. Automatic. Unstoppable. Every 2 weeks like clockwork. I put it all in savings. Didn't spend a penny. Because it wasn't for me. It was for her. For college. For a car. For a future where money wasn't a weapon or a source of shame. My daughter asked about the court case. I told her simply, he has to pay now. The judge said so. And he will. Every month. Because you matter. And the law says he has to take care of you. Does that mean he loves me now? My heart broke. No, baby. It means he has to do what's right whether he wants to or not. Love is different. Love shows up without being forced. What matters is that we're okay. We've always been okay. We don't need his love. We have each other. She seemed to accept that. Went back to her homework. But I saw it. The scar. The permanent mark left by a father who chose to leave. 3 months later, something else happened. I heard through mutual acquaintances. He'd lost his job. The garnishment had made him bitter. He'd become unreliable. Started drinking. The girlfriend had left him. Taken the baby. He was living in his parents' basement. The same kind of basement we'd lived in. Except he'd chosen it. Through laziness. Through selfishness. Through running from responsibility until it caught up and knocked him down. I didn't celebrate his downfall. Didn't gloat. But I didn't feel sorry for him either. Because karma isn't about revenge. It's about balance. It's about the universe correcting itself. Returning what was taken. Restoring what was stolen. He'd taken our security. Our peace. Our dignity. And now he was experiencing the same. Not because I'd wished it. But because actions have consequences. Always. Eventually. The garnishment continued. Even without his job, the state pursued his unemployment benefits. His tax refunds. Anything he touched, they took. Until the debt was paid. And me. I kept building. Kept climbing. Kept showing my daughter that you don't win by destroying others. You win by becoming so strong, so complete, that their absence becomes irrelevant. Forgiveness wasn't easy. Not a quick act or a simple phrase. It was a slow burning process. A daily choice. I had to forgive him, not for his sake, but for mine. To free myself from the weight of anger that threatened to consume me. To teach my daughter that pain doesn't have to define you. That healing is possible even after betrayal. It meant accepting that some people don't change. That love isn't always returned. That sometimes the best thing you can do is let go. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means learning. Setting boundaries. Protecting your peace. I taught my daughter that. I told her, you don't have to forget what happened, but you must never carry the heavy burden of hate. It will only hurt you. We found peace in the little things. Morning cuddles. Bedtime stories. Sunday pancakes. Smiles that came from the heart. I watched her grow into a strong, kind, resilient girl who knows her worth. Who knows that she deserves respect, love, and truth. And in forgiving, I learned to love myself more fiercely. To value my strength. To honor my journey. The pain never fully disappeared, but it lost its power. It became a chapter, not the whole story. We made it through. Not just survived, but thrived. My daughter is growing up with the kind of love that's fierce and unbreakable. The kind of love that says, you are enough. Our story isn't unique. It's the story of thousands of mothers who fight in silence. Who hold the fort when fathers walk away. Who build futures brick by brick with nothing but hope and determination. If you've listened this far, it means something. It means you understand what it feels like to be left behind but still keep going. to face the darkest moments and choose light anyway. So here's my question to you. And you? Have you forgiven what hurt you? Because forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. And healing is a journey worth starting today. Share this story if it touched you, because none of us have to do this alone.